All right, folks, welcome to GTHLCanada.com, and I'm Peter Curtis once again from the GTHL HQ, and I decided to go out on a limb. I'm going 1v2 versus Zayde and Zacch Wisdom. I'm not going into the corners, so I'll be okay. We're strictly doing it online, but Zayde, Zacch, welcome to GTHLCanada.com.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
Thanks
for having us.
This is going to be fun. So, I mean, Zayde, first of all, we know that you're in Lehigh Valley, and yesterday some big news took place just before we were going to record this interview. You want to share that with us?
Yeah, perfect timing. Just got my first pro goal. Got a few points in that game. It definitely took me a few to get used to the speed, the level, the bigger bodies, bigger boys, but I feel like I'm getting into a groove now, and hopefully I can keep it going. Hopefully got a few more in me.
Well, congratulations. 2 goals on a Valentine's Day game you'll be able to remember, and you were playing with 2 GTHL grads. We got to send some love to Matthew Strom and Ralph Kademi, and he played in the league. We actually called him Ralphie. Now he's an old man, so he calls himself Ralph.
Oh yeah. I work out with Coods during the summer too, so it's a good relationship there for sure.
Awesome. Now, Zacch, you're no slouch as well. You had a great minor midget season. You were lining up to play junior hockey this year at the age of 16, which isn't easy at any level. How's your season going? I mean, we haven't started playing hockey. What have you been doing to stay busy?
Well, a lot of working out. A lot of shooting outside. Just trying to, not lose my touch and stay in shape and just be ready whenever the hockey season starts. Right.
Awesome. That's good to hear. We're looking forward to it. If it's this year or next year, we're going to be looking forward to seeing you out on the ice. So, Zayde, I'm going to start with you. I mean, you're the older brother by a couple of years, so Zach's probably going to give into you anyways. We're talking Black History Month, and I've talked to some people, born in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and now I'm into 2002, Zayde.
Yeah.
What does Black History Month mean to you?
Well, it's definitely always held a special place in my heart, especially in the hockey world. Me and my brother growing up were always kind of, I wouldn't say the odd ones out, but we definitely did stick out a bit because of our skin color. So definitely holds a deep and special place in the heart where it's always kind of in the back of your head. You're always thinking about it. You're always looking up to those certain guys who did make it and who did do this as a job for many years, especially the first few. And I could just imagine how hard it would have been, but they pushed through and they gave me a lot of motivation to keep pushing and keep pushing through.
Okay, and I mean, we've talked about, Herb Carnegie, probably the best player to never play in the NHL. Willie O'Ree's his jersey retirement is going to be next year because the Boston Bruins want a lot of fans there. And then there's Mike Marson. Now, Zayde, do you feel like a connection? Are those guys like from the history book? Are there more modern examples that you have? Or can you actually connect with someone that played so long ago and fought through some battles?
I wouldn't say long ago. Like I still like Wayne Simmons for example is one of my main mentors in my life and in my hockey life, as me and my brother both, where he has an open line with us. I know I could text him, call him if I ever needed something, if I was ever feeling down, not just for hockey, for personal life as well, where he set a big example for me and my brother growing up because we always knew about him. He was always a close friend growing up in Scarborough. Obviously he was close. Now he's in Toronto, which definitely helps a lot more. I got to see him a few times over the summer. But Herb Carnegie is a prime example, especially when I played on North York, walking into his rink and seeing his face all over the rink, seeing all of his accomplishments, seeing all of his awards, even seeing his comic book in the rink. It was definitely special seeing someone like that of his skin color making it all the way and being that big and famous through a sport that maybe you wouldn't think can provide that for our skin color, but it definitely brought a lot of attention to me and my brother and a lot of motivation.
I mean, we know the connection very well. Zach, I mean, you have an older brother, but Wade Simmons kind of became the older brother to your older brother. Did you
Yeah,
notice a big difference in Zayde when all of a sudden you've connected to a really great hockey player from the Toronto area?
for sure. I mean, he had a mentor. Like I had him. I had Zayd growing up as a mentor and someone to look up to, someone to kind of just go to if I needed help. And for Zayd to finally get someone like that on his side just really improved his game and just improved the way he kind of looked at life and just carried himself.
So Zach, I'll put you on the spot because this is hard-hitting journalism here at the
Yeah.
GTHL. You're in 2004. You've got a busy life. Do you think that someone might come to you and say, hey, you're a really cool guy. I want you to be my mentor at the age of 16, 17? Or is that something that you would find intimidating, something that you'd want to grab onto?
Something I want to grab onto for sure. Like being able to help out younger players would be an honor. Really, it'd be something that I would enjoy doing, and I wouldn't mind doing at all. So I think it would be a good time, and being able to help somebody would be an awesome feeling for me, and just being able to give back would be tremendous, right?
Well, that's great. Now, Zayd, I mean, you and your brother did go through the Etobicoke Hockey League, Duffield, Vaughan. Can you remember that first time that you went into a rink? Did you really feel like, hey, I'm this one black kid in the hockey rink? And is there anyone else showing up? Was it that awkward for you?
Um, I wouldn't say that awkward. World's evolving, right? Kids and stuff like tend to not see color as much. It was definitely there on a few occasions where I could be like, oh wow, okay, so like this is what an example would feel like. But um kids are starting to become nicer, right? And they just accept you for who you are. If you're a cool guy, I feel like a lot of kids nowadays will just accept you for being a cool guy, you know. But there's definitely a few occasions where it definitely stood out to me, and I started to like realize and kind of grow up where I would think about it, or it would take me a few extra days to process through my head. But there's definitely a few occasions where it stuck out, but I wouldn't say it was any more awkward or different from a normal experience.
Okay, and there's this award that a lot of people don't know about. It's the E.J. McGuire Award of Excellence. It's given to someone in their draft year that overcomes a lot. And there's a great amount of stories about your struggle there and what your mother Mari went through. What was the impetus to get into hockey? Was it just to keep you busy? Why did she choose hockey, or was it something you went to your mom and say, "Look, I need to be in that rink"?
I think it kind of came as a surprise to us. My dad being from Jamaica, definitely not knowing how to skate. My mom not knowing how to skate, even though she's from up north. But um, it kind of came as a surprise where um, it just fell into me. I fell in love with it right away, and it was a sport I loved to play, and I felt I was pretty good at. Right, so um, if I loved it, and if I kept on wanting to play, and if I was good at it, might as well stay in it, right? So um, it was definitely a journey and and so on to keep me in, but it was worth it in the end, right? So
Okay, and Zach, I mean, the struggles to play hockey, I mean, they're well known. I mean, there's other
Mhm.
sports too that are expensive. I mean, do kids that get a chance to play hockey and maybe there's some financial struggles, do you almost kind of sometimes feel guilty that you're playing hockey and that your family's trying to put money into this? I mean, is there some guilt for kids that struggle financially to get into a hockey rink?
I mean, I wouldn't say guilt, but like there's always something in the back of your mind where like, wow, like my parents are putting a lot of money and time and effort into this, and like they kind of think to themselves that like I got to make it just to to help your family out, right? So I wouldn't say it's a struggle, I guess. What did you say again?
I mean,
uh,
do you feel guilty a little bit, or do you feel
Guilty,
extra
yeah.
pressure? Maybe extra pressure might be a
For
good
sure,
word.
extra pressure. For sure, extra pressure. But yeah, it's something that's always going to stick with you, and like you're always going to be thinking about it, right? So
Okay, now you were the younger brother. You go and you follow your brother to the rink. He's out there playing hockey. Was it something that you were like looking around, listening to people in the stands? Was it something you were totally focused on your brother? What was that experience of seeing your big brother go through hockey the first time? Did you want to jump on the ice and join him?
For sure, I did. You know, it was always being a younger brother. You always looked up to your older siblings, and I always looked up to Zayde, and I always watched like how he acted and especially how he played, right? So like I just kind of I always wanted to do whatever he was doing, and yeah, like it was just something I always did.
Okay, and Zayde, you've got your hockey friends, and I mean, they see you, they know you. Is there, growing up in high school or other parts of your life that weren't connected to hockey, were people surprised, Zayde, when you said, hey, I'm playing hockey at a pretty high level here? Was there something that was like, oh, wow, no one ever thought you could do that?
Yeah, so like high school was a completely different scene change. It was a high school near where I grew up, close to Weston Road. So there's definitely a lot more color and culture in my high school than my hockey changing room, right? So just going to school and going to the changing room were two completely different settings for me. So um, it was definitely like a surprise to some of my friends at high school, because most of those guys were playing football or basketball, and they normally they'd expect me to kind of hop on the train, right? Join my school football team or join the school basketball team. But as I said before, like I found that love for hockey, and a lot of my friends realized that, so they always were supportive and always congratulated me. But I wouldn't. It was definitely a scene change for sure from the changing room to high school. But I would say they were always supportive and always there for me if I needed them. So.
Okay, Zach, I'm going to throw the same question at you. I mean, is it a surprise when you're outside of your hockey world where people say, oh man, you're playing junior hockey and you're 16 years old? Wait a second, you're playing hockey? I mean, is that a surprise to your friends outside of your hockey world?
Yeah, it is for sure. But like Zayde said, they're always supportive, and a good amount of my friends also do play hockey, so they're kind of on the same boat. But yeah, it is for sure.
Okay, so Zayde, I want to take you to your minor midget year. GTHL has a top prospects game. You're the second leading scorer on the junior Canadians, the most physical guy in the whole loop, and you don't make the game. What was going through your mind back then? Was that like the letdown, or did you have some people pump you up there to say, wait a sec, this is just a small blip here?
Yeah, it was a letdown for sure. I was definitely disappointed. I wouldn't say too much in the league, maybe myself thinking I could have done a bit more, maybe scored those extra 5 goals or got those extra 5 assists. But I was definitely more disappointed in myself than like whoever made the decision. But that just gave me motivation, right? If I could make this prospect game, I was aiming for the OHL prospects game, right? So it was definitely I used it as a learning tool, kind of, where everything does matter, right? Everything you do on the ice does matter, and everything you do off the ice even matters. So it was definitely a learning curve and a learning experience for me, and I used it as motivation. I always kept it in the back of my head where I was thinking, oh, I didn't make this prospect game, then let's try and go make the next, right? So definitely disappointment in the back of my head for sure.
Well, I'll tell you, working in the office, as soon as we released the list, the phone rings, and I think we got 3 or 4 calls in support of you. So we couldn't change the list. I don't know who they were. Maybe they were your friends. But as soon as that list goes out, they're like, you guys have got this wrong. So Zayde, you had a chance to play in Kingston. Now you're in the American Hockey League with the pandemic. It's a little bit different. What was hockey like for you going into Kingston and junior hockey? Was it a big change for you? I know you were joining Shane Wright, so you had a little bit of GTHL love with you. What was that time in Kingston like?
Kingston was definitely a good time. Hopefully we can get back and going later on in this year, and I get to go back and see all my old buddies and have a good time with them. But it was definitely a fun time. It made me grow up a lot quicker. I would think living by yourself. Well, you have your billet family, right? But it's definitely not the same as home. But living by yourself, having a whole new set of friends where you're learning everybody's name coming in the first day and trying to set a good impression for your teammates and your coach. But I would say it was some of the best years of my life for sure. And these friends that I have now from Kingston and that I've met in Kingston will be with me for a long time for sure. So no complaints at all.
Okay, well, Zach, I'm going to start with you here. This is kind of the question that I've asked everyone. Anthony Stewart's been a part of it. Cyril Boulders, who's a great coaching mentor. Jamal Mayers. Hockey's took it a little bit of we'll call it a beating. I mean, we're hockey players. Over the summer, GTHL, there was some negative news. OHL's taken some challenge. Where do you think hockey's going? I mean, you're the youngest guy I'm interviewing this month.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have a positive outlook? Do you think hockey's going in the right direction, Zach?
I do think it is, like as new people, like newer people join the league, I think that there's more of a cultural acceptance, I'd say, because they're younger, right? And like they're going to be playing with different groups of people, and I think that that's going to help them be more accepting of the people that are there and joining, right? So yeah, I think that hockey's is getting better for sure.
Okay, Zayde, what do you think? I mean, are we going to push this a little bit beyond just making small improvements and making hockey accessible and a better sport for everyone?
For sure. To continue on kind of what Zach was saying there, Toronto and all the cities and towns around it are just getting more and more diverse every year, right? More and more new people are coming, more and more new kids are picking up the skates and sticks. So I definitely have hope, and I definitely feel like it is changing, and it will change in the future for sure. As Zach was saying, new kids are joining, more of a cultural acceptance. It's definitely a sport that's getting bigger and bigger, and nothing but excitement. I'm excited to see what the future has to hold.
Okay, so now, I mean, I work in the office, been there for a few years. I'll throw this out to both of you here. Someone will say, Peter, you got to go to a high school and do this to sell the game of hockey. What would I have to do? I mean, maybe I don't go because I'm the older white guy, bad example, but what do I have to do to go to a school and say, figure out this sport and you'll love it for the rest of your life, no matter what your culture, heritage, or skin color is?
I wouldn't say there's one certain thing you would have to do for every kid. Every kid's different, right? For some kids, you may have to convince them to get over their fear of even just getting on the ice, while other kids have just been looking and fishing for it, but they just can't find the opportunity, and it would be a lot easier than the kid who's scared, right? But I feel like there's not one certain thing that you could do. It would be different for every kid, but I feel like just a lot of young Black kids are just scared to join, right? But I feel like with all these big NHL players now, with different skin colors coming out and talking about it and kind of pushing it and helping those younger kids get over their fears and realize that this sport may actually like be for them and may actually help them, then that'll help. That'll be pushing it a long way, right? So
Zach, you're in high school, you're going to play junior hockey. Do you find that sometimes you got to sell the game to some of the friends that might not understand it or want to be in a rink to watch a game?
For sure, like they don't see hockey as a sport that I guess like the Black community can play sometimes, and for sure I have to sell them and tell them that like the game it's the best game in the world. It's the most fun you're gonna have. It's brothers, you meet new people and they become your friends, even family, and it's just a different world, hockey, and it's for sure I have to sell them though. it's tough sometimes, but they usually get it.
Well, that's great, guys. Well, I want to thank you for joining me today here at GTHLCanada.com. Like I said, you guys are born in the 2000s. There's a lot of people watching your career progress. We're proud that you're part of the GTHL alumni, and hopefully we can connect down the road to help this game grow even more. I want to appreciate your time, Zayde and Zacch, and stay safe during this pandemic.
Thank
You
you.
as well.
Thanks
Thank you for having us.
here.